We're right to that Fox News alert Anna mentioned. Overnight, the American photojournalist held hostage by al-Qaeda in Yemen was murdered. Luke Summers killed by terrorists during a failed rescue attempt by U.S. forces.
And Greg Palcott is on the phone live from London with the breaking details. Good morning, Greg. What can you tell us?
Peter, Tucker, Anna, we've been speaking to our contacts on the ground in Yemen. We spent a lot of time there covering the al-Qaeda chapter there. They confirm to me the tragic news that's been broken by Secretary Hagel, President Obama, and others that, in fact, Luke Summers has been killed during this raid by special forces in a remote area of Yemen. The nuance that I'm getting, guys, and it's been backed up by one other source, is that, in fact, Summers was still alive when the special force operatives reached him, that he was, in fact, shot, badly injured by al-Qaeda militants while the raid was ongoing. But when the Americans reached him, he still was alive, and the indications are that he was brought away from that location for medical treatment, maybe on a U.S. Navy ship off of Yemen, but somewhere in the process, he did die. Washington has been a little bit more direct. They simply say that he was murdered by al-Qaeda during the raid. Again, one way or another, it's a tragic ending to a failed rescue attempt. It was in a remote area of Yemen. The raid happened Yemen time early in the morning, and we are told 10 militants of al-Qaeda were also killed in the raid. There are some reports that civilians were killed as well, but the details of this thing are still coming in, guys.
Greg, a little bit more. This is information from our brain room. Summers was 33 years old. He was born in Britain, but reportedly had American citizenship and studied in Wisconsin at Beloit College. It certainly is a tragedy. Apparently, he was abducted in September of 2013. Are you aware of any other efforts to try to save him previously?
Yeah, certainly there was one other attempt, and it was confirmed to me 2 days ago that this earlier special force raid in which some hostages were rescued from al-Qaeda was the main target of that was Summers as well. That happened last week, but I am told that the al-Qaeda militants got Summers out of there and a few other hostages out of that location before the special forces reached there. So the U.S. tried to save him twice. Unfortunately, a tragic end today, guys.
And so, Greg, just to be clear, no U.S. Special Forces were injured or killed during this?
No injuries, no casualties. It is confirmed to me, too, that the Yemen government was involved as well. They want to definitely seem to be on the side of the United States in their effort against al-Qaeda in that country. But like a lot of other countries, guys, in that region, it is a very rough neighborhood. Al-Qaeda is a dangerous force there.
Greg Palcott. Thanks for the latest, Greg. Really interesting.
Cool.
All right, we're also going to get to this now. As more and more Americans continue to be on edge about al-Qaeda and about ISIS, we hear from Hillary Clinton. She was speaking at Georgetown University, and she says that what do we need to do with our enemies? Do we need to attack them and be more on the offensive rather than the defensive? No, we need to sympathize with them and try to get in their minds. Take a listen to what she said on Wednesday.
This is what we call smart power, showing respect even for one's enemies, trying to understand and, insofar as psychologically possible, empathize with their perspective and point of view.
Let's just really try to get in their heads and understand why they want to savagely behead innocent people.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to take this seriously. This is filled with all kinds of buzzwords, soft power. I mean, I'd love to hear a more precise definition. I doubt there is one. She's clearly trying to shift away from the Obama administration's position on things. But I got to say, there is a kernel of truth in this that I don't think she means, that you obviously want to know what your enemy is doing and so you can stop and kill him. But I don't think that's what she's saying. I think she's saying something much dumber.
Well, it's very confusing, and it appears to be dumb in a lot of ways. And Jessie Jane Duff, who is a retired gunnery sergeant with the U.S. Marine Corps and also a senior fellow at the London Center for Policy and Research, she responded to these soft concepts with some hard words earlier this morning on Fox and Friends. Watch this fiery response.
Which leaders is she talking about? Which enemies? Is she referring to Iran, who wants to annihilate all of Israel? Is she referring to Assad, who has killed Coptic Christians and murdered his own people with chemical warfare? Or is she talking about ISIS, who right now is beheading all Westerners and Americans on videotape? You know who she should empathize and respect is her military. In her mind, she seems to think that they may have a justifiable argument, and you want to show compassion towards that argument, which implies to me that she doesn't even understand that the United States is having a threat to its very freedom every single day by these enemies. And we are not in the wrong. There should be no empathy because thousands of Americans, their blood is on the hands of these terrorists.
Well, I mean, I think that she sums it up perfectly. She doesn't understand. I mean, it's easy to make broad statements, generalizations, soft power. What exactly are you talking about? Like, let's get really precise. How should we attack the threat from ISIS?
We should try to have cocktails with them and shake hands.
Oh, really?
And rather than show our strength, why does the world respect our military power? It's because we have shown our strength, right? Because we show weakness.
You're absolutely right. And, you know, today, as we talk about the death of Mr. Summers and the sacrifice of Navy SEAL Team 6, thankfully not injured or killed in the 2 different raids to bring him back to America, the notion of empathy seems even the more absurd. The fact that we have to lay our lives on the lines to bring back Americans. So to empathize with al-Qaeda, to empathize with ISIS, to empathize with those who want to behead Americans, execute Americans, hold them hostage, blow up towers in the United States, that seems to be absolutely alien and, frankly, inimical to everything that we believe, and certainly what we want our presidents to be doing.
They've got a point of view, too, Peter. You just need to be more sensitive.
Oh, boy.